A Pro Tour winner last year and a semi-finalist at the Players' Championship Finals. A Lakeside World Championship finalist. He's Dutch. He's We now bring to the stage a former Gibraltar Darts Trophy champion, a winner of 9 PDC ranking titles, World Match Play and World Championship finalist, Bully Boy Michael Smith!
We were victims of the night, the chemical, physical kryptonite, help us to the base and the fading light. Oh, we were bound to get together, bound to get together. She took mine, I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said, you're holding back. She said, shut up and listen to me. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and listen to me.
Genuine all-or-nothing encounter to round off the afternoon session here on day 2 of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. So much at stake. This was the one match that we all look forward to at the start of play today. No disrespect to what has gone before us, or indeed what is still to come, but this match is simply huge. Only one of these two can advance to the European Championship Finals in Göttingen next month. The winner will move on to £12,000 on the European money list. Defeat for the Bully Boy would end his hopes of making it to Göttingen. He's a finalist, a former European Tour champion, of course. He's a former champion here in Gibraltar, and yet Michael Smith, the number 15 seed, is on the brink of not being involved in the finale at the end of the European season. It is simply massive, and he wouldn't be human right now if he wasn't letting the tension get to him. He's just got to focus, realign himself, focus on the here and now. And Paul Nicholson has also got to overcome a very, very difficult opponent in the shape of Danny Noppert.
Yeah, definitely. Danny is a very stoic type player. He's not going to give you any sort of emotion that you can feed off. And he's very poker-faced like. Doesn't really give you anything to feed on.
First leg is Michael to throw first. Game on.
Michael Smith, if he's going to win this game, he's going to have to do it purely with talent and with poise. And interestingly enough, Michael Smith has had a decent season so far, but on the Euro Tour it just hasn't happened. He's said that in interviews with different publications, but he's flip-flopped between different sets of points this year based on what's happened with bounce-outs. It'll be interesting to see how many, if any, he gets today.
4 European Tour titles to his name. The first of them came in 2015. Champion here 2 years ago. And twice this year he's found himself being unseeded at European Tour events for the first time since July of 2014. But being unseeded has actually helped him out on occasion, because he's been able to pick up the money from the word go. When he has been seeded, he's been in that situation where he's had to advance to the third round to pick up any ranking money on the European money list, and more often than not he's not been able to do that, and that is why he finds himself in this predicament right now. But it's a simple equation for Michael Smith. Win this and he would all but be guaranteed a place in Göttingen. May still have a little bit more to do depending on events elsewhere.
Correct. But he can't affect what happens to other people. He can affect what happens in this game. There is no defence in darts, so it's got to be all-out attack. And I love that line from earlier, Rob. All or nothing. Great song as well.
It's one of those often overused phrases, but this is where it genuinely does apply.
60.
Well, for the first 5 European Tour events of 2019, it was definitely nothing for Michael Smith. No money on the European Order of Merit after 5 Euro Tour events this year. Further blanks in Zwolle, Prague and Vienna. Only once this year has he made the final day. That's astonishing for a player of his calibre and his obvious expertise as well.
It's quite ridiculous when you think about it. And considering some of the performances that he has had on the European Tour, and some of the performances he's had this season.
100, Mike Lugois, 76.
It's not like he's been playing poorly. It just hasn't seemed to have happened in places like Germany and Austria and
56.
the Czech Republic and places like that.
Uruguay, 83.
Now, Danny really does like tops, but 83, it's difficult to leave tops. He's got 66 left, so he's not going to go for double 13, but he's going to go for 16 and bull. Bullseye to nick the first leg.
58.
Underpitched.
Mike Lugois,
And Smith
20.
on 10s is usually only one result.
Well, had Danny Noppert found that,
On the first leg,
Michael Smith may well have been
So
rocking on his
Danny
heels,
through
but
first.
that
Game
will
on.
settle him down the world of good.
Get the feeling sometimes when Michael has a somewhat iffy start to a match, he does talk to himself a lot. Maybe some work with
97.
a thoughts coach or a psychiatrist or something of that ilk in sport to implant some real positivity
134.
in those little chats with himself may make a massive amount of difference. We've already seen this year in the match play final with Rob Cross that, yes, he had a poor start, but the way he rebounded in that game told us a lot about what he can do when he's got his back against the wall.
Yeah, and the other thing is, he's had so many near misses this year. He talks about the World Match Play final, but of course, 9 months ago he was a World Championship finalist, finalist on the World Series in America, semi-finalist at the UK Open, twice a finalist on the Pro Tour. You know, this year has been a year of near misses for Michael Smith, and it's all about how he responds in the final reckoning. I think this is a really good a really good opportunity for him to find a little bit of salvation at the end of the year.
72.
And there's bigger prizes to come as well, other big prizes to come as well as qualifying for the European Championship.
It wouldn't shock me.
But this might do him the world of good. This might be a catalyst for him.
Yeah, I was going to say that,
140.
because sometimes, you know, people like Michael Smith who are bound to be in everything every season, the moment they miss out on something, it reminds them that everything isn't a given. But it wouldn't shock me that, you know, Michael Smith goes on and wins the Grand Prix and then isn't in the European Championships. That's the glorifying
82.
brilliance of the
Michael
PDC Tour.
127.
Everything feeds into different tournaments nowadays. He's got to rely on a mistake from Danny here
53.
if he's going to get a
Danny
poke
Lugois, 110.
at his two daughter.
If he does get a poke, it's at 74. Noppert, 90 away. Switches to the 18s, but he can't find the trouble that he needed.
54. Mike Lugois, 74.
That measured approach from Danny. He's just been on the wrong side of the wires so far. And double 10 for Smith. Double 5 to the rescue again.
64.
It isn't.
Danny
There's a little bit of
Lugois,
exasperation
56.
from Bully Boy there.
First potential turning point in the match, because that would have given Smith a 2-0 lead. Tops for Noppert in reply. Steely focus, that icy glare.
16. Mike Lugois, 10.
And this
Yeah,
time
John
Michael
Singler,
Smith makes
Michael
no
Smith.
mistake. Even last
Then
weekend
it's Michael to throw first.
in Barnsley, he was a
Game.
semi-finalist. That was another near miss. He beat Gerwin Price 6-1. He beat Mensur 6-2. You know, two really good back-to-back results, literally back-to-back results within a very short time frame, only to then lose to Aspinall in the last
60.
I don't think that's going to be the last time that Smith and Aspinall have a ding-dong. We look at the next phase of this generation, and we're looking for rivalries, aren't we? We're looking at, you know, MVG versus Anderson
58.
is the key rivalry for me to watch out for. But I look at 3-4 years in the future, and that game that Aspinall
93.
and Smith had at the Worlds, that told me that that is the rivalry, the friendly rivalry at that we are going to watch for the next 10 years potentially. Because when they get together, it's like Charlize Theron and Will Smith in that movie Hancock.
100.
It's like the end of the world type darts. It's just blockbuster stuff.
134.
Well, this is most certainly a match and an occasion where Michael Smith won't be too concerned with the breakdown, the analysis of numbers and the averages. This is all about coming through and getting the job done. There's absolutely no doubt about that. He would gladly take a win here with an average of 71.5, no doubt about that.
Well, you mentioned that Smith is not just going to have to win this match, but potentially more after. He may have to go through Ian White as one of his practice partners, and that is not an easy game right now, the way Ian White is playing. Yes, there are no easy games, but sometimes you can get an opponent that doesn't have as much experience and doesn't have the winning mentality like some of the Gibraltarians yesterday. To the left to create the angle, and he's very fortunate that didn't just bounce down into the 60.
Yes, he is indeed. He's hoping now that Noppert does not find this 1-4-3, by the way. 83 away, treble 17. Would have left the double 16.
87.
Back to the drawing board for Danny.
Yeah, Michael seems to be one
leg,
dart ahead in every leg. He's not playing his best game by any means.
Well,
but if you can be a dart ahead in every leg, that's a great position to be in.
He's averaging 87. The checkout percentage is what now? 3 from 8. Just as well that Noppert has not been able to step in and make the most. He's only averaging 81 and a bit himself. But if you'd offered Michael Smith a 3-0 lead at the start of play, he would have ripped your hand out of its socket.
Too right he would have, especially as Michael would have seen the performance yesterday of Danny against Keegan Brown. That was not just a very good game that went all the way, but the thing that impressed me the most is that after that game there was a great spirit between the two players. Very similar to what we've seen already today with Ryan Joyce against Nathan Aspinall and the previous game with Dave Chisnell and Jeffrey Desvaughn. It's good for the game to have that kind of spirit. We have to have the controversial stuff, of course, like with Thornton last night against David Francis, but it's nice to have camaraderie after a great battle on the board.
140.
Yeah, just before we build up to the climax of this match, a reminder that our evening session starts at 7:15 local time, 6:15 if you're watching in the UK. 1:15 in the afternoon if you're watching in New York City. We are a global presence, the PDC, and the action starts with the number 2 seed Ian Wise against Michael Rosenauer. One of the associate member qualifiers, Mensior Sulovic, champion in Austria, recently on stage later against Wessel Nyman, and the action concludes with Gerwin Price, champion in Riesa, last time out on the European Tour, up against David Francis, one of 2 Gibraltarians on stage tonight. Dyson Parodi, the other, against Peter Wright, the number 8 seed. Danny Noppert in trouble in this leg as well.
Again, he's a dart ahead, Michael Smith. He's under the most pressure, though, on this visit. Treble 9 for tops. And he delivers, just like Raymond van Barneveld's previous occupation. He is the postman.
Yeah, he will seek any opportunity, Michael Smith, to leave himself tops. I do remember once he was kicking himself. He was on 61 and he went for the 25 to go for double 18, and he just afterwards was just lamenting the fact that he didn't go for the treble 7, because he will normally do everything he can to leave himself tops, and once again he's found it there.
82.
Yeah, those small trebles have been used very efficiently by the likes of Michael Smith and James Wade over the last few seasons. I think they're unheralded trebles, the ones that are below treble 10, treble 8, treble 7, treble 9.
And of course, if you're on 61 and you missed the treble 7, you left yourself 54, so you can always tidy it up anyway. You've still got that opportunity to go for tops anyway, if it is your preferred way of finishing.
I think it boils down to what you prefer to finish on. And there are players out there like Steve Beaton who doesn't really care what he leaves as long as it's a double. But if you are in the Ratajski type of house, you're going to be trying to leave double 16. If you're Michael Smith, James Wade, you're looking for 12s, tops and 10s. So those small trebles of 7, 8 and 9 are way more important for those guys.
Yeah, and a missed 25 could end up sometimes anywhere. Well, 6 scored with 2 darts, and he will return, but Michael Smith knows that was a really good opportunity to get down to something more manageable than a 104. Mercifully, from his point of view, the treble 20 came to his rescue, but Danny Noppert not doing a great deal here with this particular visit, although he has found the trouble with his last dart as well.
How good was that last dart from Michael Smith, though? He's given himself the opportunity Same double.
Yeah, tops again.
Danny Uruguay,
And he's
88.
again giving himself a real ticking off, because he knows even though he's 4-0 up, he wants to give himself every possible margin and every possible game.
He'll be hoping that Danny misses double 14. And he has.
Michael Uruguay,
Should be 5-0. Michael performed
Yeah,
a post-mortem on the previous dart, but that leg is positively gone.
Game on.
Well, we've not had a whitewash this weekend, and if you'd asked me for a match today that would be over in a 6-0 scoreline, I don't think I'd have gone for this one. But it could well be that Michael Smith comes through this
57.
must-win match, this all-or-nothing encounter, with a bagel next to his name, because he's 5-0 to the good.
121.
And again, he's setting himself high standards here. He's furious with that final dart, because it has just given Danny Noppert that little bit of margin again.
Well, you've got to hit the one at some point. If you stay straight from there, it's probably going to turn out to be a very good one. See, that's what you call looking at the glass half full. And sometimes I think Michael Smith needs to do that. He looks at the glass half empty too often. He doesn't give himself enough credit. Sometimes he just needs to smile a bit more and relax. And this position, yes, he's got to relax a little bit, but he's in a fabulous position to put himself into tomorrow's play.
Yes, you'd rather be in Michael Smith's size 9s right now than Danny Noppert's or whatever they are.
Ton would have been good enough there. He's going to have to settle for a steady 60. And Danny is still alive, but barely. The first dart has been his biggest problem, because he's been shifting around the board too much and hasn't been able to stand still.
100.
Yeah, it's really disrupted his rhythm. This would be, I suppose, no great
90.
damage done if Noppert were to win one. As far as Smith is concerned, it's on the Noppert throw. Smith is in position to finish this off, though, here and now, although this would just get the juices flowing for Danny Noppert if he can find this 153, double 18.
117. Michael 130.
Wasn't his best visit, the last one from Smith, but he's given himself a really good opportunity for bull in the match.
84. Danny Uruguay, 36.
Single 4 to leave 46. Noppert looking at double 18. Awkward. Does not want to come inside. If you're going to miss there. And he backs it up. It was a really good marker. And Danny Noppert off and running at 5-1.
Game on.
That is one of the best things about Danny. Even when he's being bashed on the scoreboard,
57.
he's got such a great mentality for competition that he doesn't want to go home with no legs in the bank from this second round match. He can see the relief, and he's saluted the crowd in a somewhat ironic way.
100.
That's the kind of guy he is. He doesn't speak a great deal of English, but he engages with everybody. He's a fabulous professional.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever lost 6-0 on the European tour. He's had a couple of 6-1s. Van Gerwen beat him 6-1 last year. That was in the German Open. Stephen Bunting beat him 6-1 earlier this year.
85.
Michael Smith's got to find that treble again. Seems to be deserting him right now. He doesn't want to allow Danny to get a tiny bit of momentum and a bit of belief. We've seen many games on the Euro Tour this year where people have been 5-1 up and it hasn't been plain sailing.
Maybe a bit late now, but I suppose it is worth mentioning that Michael Smith has never beaten Danny Noppert prior to today. 2 previous encounters, both of them going the way of the Dutchman, both on the Pro Tour. One of them was fairly recently, in fact, in Hildesheim in Players' Championship 21. That was in a quarter-final. Noppert winning 6-3.
Noppert is starting to sharpen up a little bit.
100.
He's starting to put himself one dart ahead in these situations, and Smith needs to find another. Oh, he didn't need that, because that a 2-darter has now been turned into a 3-darter.
That is a little bit careless from Michael Smith, and he knows it. And this might be a break of throw for Danny Noppert, even if he doesn't take out this 116 right now. Treble 17, he's got the opportunity. Bullseye he wants.
91.
25 he gets.
99.
Single
Maybe
90.
that slip up by Michael Smith might just allow Danny Noppert. He went for the tops.
39.
It was always going to happen if he gets the
25.
single. He was going to go for 2 double tops. A rueful shake of the head from Michael Smith gets the feeling that Danny's going to be choking up his second leg. He will if he hits double 4.
21.
Very nervy, very anxious. Yeah, it was that
My
far away,
dude,
Danny.
60.
And had he taken that, it may well have been a time for us to start asking the question, but Michael Smith can step in here because he's got 2 darts at tops, he's got 1 dart at double 10.
40.
Anxious times, though, for the bully boy on the finishing right
Danny
now.
Uruguay, 4.
I'm not sure he expected to hit that. I don't think he believed enough. Madhouse for Danny Noppert. 1 dart left to deny Smith another chance. And he hasn't been able to do it. It's been an edgy contest.
20.
Hasn't been of high quality, but Smith to get it done needs one of his favourites. With 1 dart left, he sneaks it in the top corner, and he does get a 6-1 victory.
And in this all-or-nothing encounter, it's Michael Smith who comes through and keeps his European Championship dream alive. The number 15 seed rounds off the afternoon session with a 6-1 win against Danny Noppert.
Michael, so much riding on that game. Do you think it's nerves that stop you guys playing your best?
I was in the practice room there, I didn't miss a thing, and come out and I knew that game then could be worth 25 grand today and then 100 grand in 2 weeks, so it was like a 125 grand match, just that one match. So nerves did play a part, but I'm glad none of us turned up, but I'm just glad I got the doubles at the end of the legs.
Well, it's not done and dusted yet for you qualifying for the European Championship. You might have to win another game. It might be against your good mate, your practice partner, and the man who's been tearing things up, particularly lately, Ian White. It's going to have to be better than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I know that for a fact, but that game is more difficult than the next one, because if I lost then, I was guaranteed to be out. At least winning that one, it gives me a chance of being in. It needs some right results, but that's my first game. That's out of the way now. I'm showing me White as well. That's the worst thing. So he's going to get some stick tonight if he wins. I'll keep him up to like 5 o'clock in the morning, just waiting for tomorrow. But no, it'll be better tomorrow. I'll guarantee you that.
Look, you are the World Championship finalist and the World Match Play finalist this year. You are a guy who beats yourself up, though. I mean, you should be on the crest of a wave right now. You should be thinking, I'm one of the guys to beat here. Surely, Mike.
It can be that way, but back home in family life as well, I've had a lot of issues with injuries and stuff like that, but I started turning into football players. Why is it always happening to me? But I have to get my head down, and I've said in an interview before, like the Pro Tours and Europeans, he wasn't first on my agenda. On my agenda, I want a TV title, and that's all I've been trying to focus on this year. And I knew this today, I was going, well, if I would have focused on these, I could have been another TV, so I had to pull my finger out, but no, these last 3 months I'll put the biggest push in I've ever done, and I'll make sure I'm ready for the World Champs coming into the year as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bully boy Michael Smith, World Match Play runner-up, World Championship runner-up, former winner here in Gibraltar. He is through to the next round. He could face Ian White. I'll leave you with our MC, Little Richard.